Something that I like more about Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2 now that I'm older, and that is Galaxy Mode. You know, that new main mode in the game that was basically a substitute for story mode, unlike most Dragon Ball games. And it was a mode where basically every character has their own set of fights to pick from, and it featured a lot of story based fights as well as a bunch of random fights. And it also included a bunch of easy fights as well as a bunch of harder fights. And overall, this is a mode that I think I like more as an adult than I did when I was little. Not that I've ever hated Galaxy Mode or anything. I've always thought Galaxy Mode was a cool mode, especially since that this was the mode you go to for if you want to unlock characters, costumes, and stages. But I think I like it more as an adult than I did when I was a kid because, you know, it was something different for Dragon Ball games, especially back then, back in 2010. Because, in case if you're not familiar with Dragon Ball games, a lot of Dragon Ball games tend to cover the same Dragon Ball Z story mode. I mean, yeah, that's true. Not every Dragon Ball game covers the same Dragon Ball Z story mode, and there's also some Dragon Ball Z games that don't cover the story as accurately as other games do. But that still doesn't change the fact that a lot of Dragon Ball games, especially the older games, cover the same Dragon Ball Z story with the Saiyan saga, the Frieza saga, the Cell saga, the Buu saga, and even some movie sagas. You know, those same fights against Frieza, Buu, Brawly, Cell, all those guys. And Rage and Blast 2, it does something different. Now, of course, like I said before, it still features story-based content in it, but not enough to make it an actual story mode. It still features a lot of random fights in it. And like I said before, it features a bunch of easy fights, you know, fights that you should get through pretty easily, even if you're playing the game for the first time, as well as some harder fights, like fights I remember annoying me more when I was younger. But still, as I've grown older, I tend to appreciate the challenge that can be shown in these fights. Like, you know, some harder fights, for example, being ones where you play as a character and you only have one hit of health left and you play against a team of multiple characters and you have to avoid getting hit by your opponents throughout the whole fight. As well as this one really good fight that I don't think I'll ever forget that involves Goku. You play as Goku and you play against 5 Dragon Ball Z villains and you play against those villains as Goku's health's going down and you have to beat them quick and all that stuff. That will always be one of my favorite fights in Raging Blast 2. And it's not exactly that I'm tired of Dragon Ball Z games covering the same story a lot. No, I do enjoy playing through the Dragon Ball Z story mode, that same story through other Dragon Ball games with different graphics and such. But still, like, isn't it nice to have a change of pace? You know, isn't it nice to have something different, something that isn't the same story we've seen 1,000 times? And plus, even if Rage and Blast 2 not having a story mode was that big of a problem, I still think it has story-related things to help make up for that. Like I said multiple times in the video, Galaxy Mode has story-based fights in it, as well as there's some fights where you get like accurate quotes from the Dragon Ball anime that pop up if you have the correct characters fight each other. Like, for example, if you have Super Saiyan 2 Goku fight Majin Vegeta. And plus, there's even a more newly reanimated OVA of Plan to Eradicate the Super Saiyans in there. And yeah, that's cool. We get a free OVA from a video game. That's cool. Even if Plan to Eradicate the Super Saiyans is definitely not the best Dragon Ball installment ever. But still, I like it for what it is. And I especially like the fact that they reanimated it for this Raging Blast 2 game. And I also like the fact that you could literally just see him through this OVA and you already unlock Hachiyak or whatever his name is. So yeah, overall, I like Galaxy Mode more in Raging Blast 2 now that I'm older, as it was something nice and different for Dragon Ball games that wasn't the same story we've seen a bunch of times. And it had a lot of cool fights in it and such, and it's also a cool mode where you can unlock a bunch of goodies in it, like characters and whatnot. And yep, if you guys want to, you can let me know in the comment section down below what you think of Galaxy Mode from Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2 and what you think of this video and all that. And yep, that about wraps it up, everybody. Have a good day, bye, and thanks for watching.